name is Chris from ChristopherHole.com, and welcome to this video where we're going to be looking into an introduction into lumbar lordosis. Now, I have done videos in the past on this subject. I've got a 12-week program on the website, so by all means you can go download that if you need it, but in this video we're just going to be sort of building a better foundation of our understanding of what lordosis is and the muscles that are involved within it. So to start this video off, we're going to be looking at the spine. We're going to be looking at lordosis, and then we're going to move into the muscles and sort of their effect on the spine and on different parts of the body as well. So to start with, we're going to look at the spine. And we've got, in the spine, we've got two what's known as lordotic curves. So we've got a lordotic curve here at the lower spine. We've also got a lordotic curve here at the upper spine. And in the middle portion of the spine, we've got what's known as a kyphotic curve. Now, you may recognise some of these or parts of these words anyway, because I've said lordotic, which is very close to lordosis, and kyphotic, which is very close to the kyphosis. Now, these curves are called lordotic curves and kyphotic curves. And then the definition of lordosis is when these curves, these lordotic and kyphotic curves, become exaggerated. So the definition of lordosis is an excessive curvature of the lumbar spine. And the definition of kyphosis is an exaggerated curvature of the thoracic spine. So the kyphotic curve becomes exaggerated in kyphosis, and the lordotic curve becomes exaggerated in lordosis. So hopefully now we've now got a better understanding of what lordosis is, because we need those natural S curves to give us a proper, healthy, functioning spine. So the muscles that are involved in all of this, there are a few of them, and there are a few that are more important than others, but we're just going to be looking at the more important ones. And obviously the most important ones, or one, or two, as it were, because it's on either side of the spine, is the psoas. And the psoas is this big muscle here that runs right up through the hip that joins the leg onto the spine. Now, the unique thing about this that makes it such an important muscle for lordosis is that it attaches, or originates as we call it, or starts, if you want an easy way to understand it, on each of the lumbar vertebrae. So all of the 5 vertebrae and also the bottom thoracic one, T12. So it attaches onto all of those vertebrae. So if this muscle becomes extremely tight and overactive, what it does is it pulls on the lower spine, or the lumbar spine, and it creates that exaggerated curve. So it then goes all the way through the hip, and then, as you can see there, joins down on the femur. The next muscle is the iliacus. Now, this is very closely related to the psoas because it's another hip flexor. The only difference being is it doesn't attach onto the lumbar spine this time, it attaches onto the top of the hip. And it goes all the way through sort of that bowl of the hip, and then again it attaches onto the femur, which again is very close to the psoas, which is why they're so closely linked. They are both hip flexors, but the main one involved is the psoas, and then it comes down into the iliacus. So we've got psoas and iliacus, and the iliacus doesn't pull on the spine, but what it does do, it pulls on the hip, which then could curve the spine. And this is why these two muscles are so important. So if you can imagine, my sort of fingers that I'm creating here is like a bowl, and the bowl is full of water. Now, if the iliacus becomes really tight, the bowl begins to tilt forward, and I'll start to pour water out of the front of it. And that's exactly what happens with the iliacus in lordosis, is it become overactive. It can tilt the pelvis forward, and as the pelvis tilts forward, it's that then pulls on the spine, or creates that extra curvature in the spine. So far we've got the psoas major, and the iliacus. The psoas pulls on the lumbar spine, and the iliacus creates that anterior pelvic tilt, which indirectly can start creating an excessive curvature in the lumbar spine. The third muscles that are involved that aren't necessarily sort of like direct causes of, or causers, I should say, of lordosis, but it's the adductors. So we've got adductor brevis, adductor longus, and adductor magnus. You've also got gracilis up through here as well, but those are sort of the 4 adductor muscles. Now, they don't necessarily, again, tilt the pelvis or pull on the spine, but they are attached to the pelvis, and they are sort of a part of lumbar lordosis, because what happens here is these again become very tight, very overactive, and what that then does, if you can imagine sort of my knuckles being my kneecaps, and obviously your kneecaps, they want to be pointing, straight forward, because they're a hinge joint and they want to be pointing forward. But when we get lumbar lordosis, what can happen is they can tilt inwards and they can start to point towards each other. So instead of being sort of in that straight line parallel to each other, your knees will start to do that. So what you then get is a locked out knee, and also ones that point inward. So you may even walk slightly pigeon-toed. So it's the adductors that are causing that. So obviously what we need to go about doing is releasing all the tension in those muscles and releasing all of the overactivity, if you will, that's within those. And there's various stretches and things that you can do to be able to do that, and exercises that need to be done with that. You can go to the website, you can click on the link below, you can go straight to the website and find videos, more videos talking about the muscles. You can find an exercise library which has got certain exercises and certain stretches for lordosis, and also there's a 12-week program which you can download. So if you just click the link below, you can go straight through to those, and obviously use those resources as you so wish. So that brings me to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. My name's Chris from ChristopherHall.com. I will speak to you in a future video.